Today, we're cracking open a small but incredibly powerful book that claims to be a master key to some of the oldest wisdom on the planet. It's called the Kybalion. Let's get into it. Right from the get-go, the book hits you with this line. It's basically a warning and an invitation all at once. It's saying, look, the secrets we're about to share, they're not for everyone. They're only for those who are actually ready to hear them. And you know how it is, right? If you've ever tried to dive into esoteric or ancient teachings, it can feel like you're lost in a maze. There are so many different traditions, so many conflicting ideas, it's honestly enough to make anyone just give up. Well, this is the incredible promise of the Kybalion. The authors say they're not trying to build some new philosophy. Instead, they're handing us a key, a master key that can supposedly unlock all the inner doors to the different rooms in this giant temple of knowledge. So, where in the world did this master key come from? Well, the story traces its origins all the way back to a single, almost mythical figure from the dawn of history. We're talking about a guy named Hermes Trismegistus, which means Hermes the thrice great. He was said to be this master of masters living in ancient Egypt, and his teachings were supposedly the bedrock for almost every mystical tradition that came after. And for centuries, this wisdom was never written down. It was only passed directly from teacher to student, from lip to ear. Then, bam! Fast forward a few thousand years to 1908, and this mysterious little book just appears, written by a group calling themselves the Three Initiates. And it made a huge claim, that it was finally putting down on paper the core teachings of Hermes that had been kept secret for all that time. And the wild thing is, at the very core of this massive, ancient philosophical system, it all boils down to just 7 principles. These are what the book calls the 7 Hermetic principles. It says they're like a magic key that makes all the doors of the temple fly open. So let's take a look at what they are. So here they are: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. According to the Kybalion, if you can truly wrap your head around these 7 concepts, you basically have the tools you need to understand the entire universe. All right, let's dive in, starting with the biggest, most foundational principles of them all, the ones that kind of flip our whole idea of reality on its head. This is the big one, the principle of mentalism. It says that the ultimate reality of everything, we're talking matter, energy, you, me, everything, is spirit, which is best understood as a single, universal, living mind. So the key idea here is that the universe itself is a mental creation. The book gives us a great way to think about this. It's like how a character in a book exists entirely within the mind of the author. The Kybalion says that's us. We exist within the mind of what it calls the all. And this leads right into that other famous idea, the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. It just means that because everything is part of the same one mind, the patterns repeat on every level. If you can understand a small part, you can start to understand the whole thing. And this next one, vibration, just clicks right into place. Okay, so if the whole universe is mental, why does a rock feel different from a thought? Well, the answer is vibration. The Kybalion says that the only difference between anything, spirit, mind, energy, matter, is just its rate of vibration. Everything is always moving, always vibrating. So we've got a mental universe that's constantly vibrating. Now let's get into the principles that explain the mechanics of how it all works. You know, the constant push and pull, the cycles and opposites we see all around us. Okay, get ready for another mind bender here. The principle of polarity makes a really wild claim. It says that opposites are actually the exact same thing. They aren't fundamentally different. They're just 2 extremes of the same scale. Think about it like this: heat and cold. Are they really 2 separate things? Or are they just different points on a single thermometer? There's no exact line where hot ends and cold begins, is there? The same goes for love and hate, or courage and fear. They're just 2 ends of the same stick, differing only in degree. And that leads us right into the principle of rhythm. So if you've got these 2 opposite poles, rhythm says there's always a pendulum swinging back and forth between them. Everything flows out, and then it flows back in. A high tide is always followed by a low tide. A boom in the economy is followed by a bust. You even feel it in your own moods, right? That swing is everywhere. And finally, there's the principle of gender. Now, the Kybalion is super clear about this. This has nothing to do with physical sex at all. It's talking about two universal energies, a masculine principle that expresses or gives out, and a feminine principle that receives and generates. And it says you absolutely need both of these for anything to be created, from a brand new star to just a simple idea in your head.
All right, so a mental universe that runs on vibration, polarity, rhythm, and gender. Cool theory, but so what? What do you actually do with that information? Well, that's what these last principles are all about. This is where we get into the art of what the book calls mastery. This one's huge. The principle of cause and effect says that nothing just happens. There's no such thing as chance or luck. What we call chance is just a law we haven't recognized yet. The book argues that most people are just an effect, constantly being pushed around by causes they don't even see. And this is the roadmap to taking back control. See, most people are like pawns on the chessboard of life. They get moved around by their environment, their habits, other people's opinions. But by understanding these principles, you can start to rise above that. You learn to master your own moods, your own mental states, and when you do that, you stop being a pawn. You become a player, a cause in your own life. And this is the whole shebang, the end game. The Kybalion calls it mental transmutation. It's the practical art of mental alchemy, learning to consciously change your own mental states at will, to change your own polarity from fear to courage, or from apathy to action. And because the universe is mental, when you change your mind, you literally start to change your universe. So the Kybalion really just leaves us with this one final massive question to think about. It takes all of these ancient cosmic ideas and puts the responsibility right back in your hands. If the all is mind and the universe is mental, then what exactly are your thoughts creating?